Wouldn't it be awesome if you could snap your fingers and fix your entire golf swing? Hit your irons with incredible compression and hit driver long and straight, just like we see all the tour players do. But at the moment you may find yourself in the position where you've tried so hard to make those fixes in your golf swing and don't seem to be able to get anywhere. You start at the starting line, go to the finish, that doesn't work, finish to start doesn't work, you try somewhere in the middle first and then try and work your way around that, but then your head just gets stuck full of all these strange, confusing golf swing thoughts. Well, in this video I've got a simple trick for you using your trail arm that no matter your age or ability, you will be able to pick this up very quickly and start to feel and see the difference in your golf swing and hit shots just like that one there. Cruising onto the green, pin high, we'll take that every day of the week on this tricky par 3. Now just before we dive straight into this, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm Harry, a golf teach professional, posting content just like this to help you lower your scores every single week. So make sure you click that subscribe button as there's lots more coming your way and it's completely free to do. And for those of you who have been watching a few of my videos, you will be already aware that I am a partner of the golf clothing brand SATORI Golf, who have sent me an exclusive discount for this week only of 20% off your entire order. So using the code HARRY20, you'll be able to get yourself a great 20% off their clothing. The fit and the quality of the material is excellent. I'd highly recommend checking out their website in the description below if you're in the market for new golf clothing. Now, usually when we see a good golfer compared to a bad golfer, or someone, for example, who's really finding their swing very easy to implement and hit great golf shots most often, and someone who's struggling with finding a swing technique, a swing feel that feels effortless and feels easy to do, is mainly all to do with the way the trail arm is set and moves in the golf swings. Let me just show you a swing quickly here of just what a good player would usually set up like and then make their swing. You'll notice that they'll have the arm set in a specific way, they'll begin to rotate in a specific way, set the arms in a reliable position at the top of the golf swing, and strike the golf ball pretty well and hit golf shots obviously just like that one there. Now, the poor player, the golfer that's struggling with their golf swing, feels lost, has the tendency of setting the trail arm in a complete different way, makes the backswing in a complete different motion that causes them to get unwanted reactions to take place, looking a little bit like this one here. I didn't mean for it to be that bad, but sometimes that can be the outcome when this trail arm moves in a way that causes those unwanted reactions. So it's not good. We don't want that shot in our golf game. So how can we get out of this? Well, if we were just to take a side-by-side screen recording there of both of those golf swings and pausing those at the actual address position just to start off with, what you'll notice in particular is that the good golfer swing, you'll notice that their right arm, the trail arm in particular, will be set with the elbow facing towards the body. You'll notice with the poor player, the player that's struggling with their golf game, is setting up with the right arm, very much so with the elbow facing away from the body, like this here. Now, when we get the elbow of the right arm facing away from the body here, it's very simple for me to take the club back all the way to this point here. But from there, it's very hard for me to fold my arm in a position that allows me to keep it connected to the body. So what happens is on the way back, when golfers struggle with their right arm positioning and movement, they'll move it like this and they'll start to move their elbow behind the body, further away from that golf ball. Now we can see here from this camera angle how close my hands are getting because of this reason. My lead arm here is beginning to break. My club face is beginning to open due to this dragging effect on the way back. So then as we make our way down, we've got to push this arm back out in front of the body to have any chance of hitting that golf ball. And you could see from that poor outcome, it is very difficult to do. Whereas the good player, they'll set up in a position, trail arm is more rotated outwards with the elbow facing towards the body. So as they begin to fold into the backswing, you'll notice here now is that their arm stays very much so connected and works on a upward motion with the golf club. The body is what makes the golf swing swing on a lateral motion, the rotation in the golf swing, but the arms and the club are supposed to work more on a vertical plane, and that's what helps us meet in the middle to find that perfect golf swing plane that we see all of the best players do. One person in particular, taking a look at the screen, Adam Scott here, he'll have that takeaway position here nice and tucked in with the trail arm, then he'll begin to work upwards just like this here as he makes his way up to the top of the golf swing. Then from there he sets himself up in a very much so reliable position that's just going to make that downswing so much easier to implement. So let's kick things off with how we actually set this arm in the correct position and work our way through the backswing, downswing and a couple of bonus tips for both irons and the driver. Now starting off with the trail arm positioning to set ourselves up for success during our golf swing. We've just identified there that when we get this very much so internal rotation of this trail arm of ours, it causes us to get into unwanted positions. So what we want to be making sure that at the setup position that we are having our trail arm into a more externally rotated position. Now all I've done there is tuck the hand out in front and just had the palm facing towards the ground. Then I've allowed my palm to face upwards. Without really moving my wrist, I've allowed my whole arm just to move in a way that gets the elbow facing downwards, and therefore when I set up into my posture and setup position, we can see that the elbow is going to be facing more towards the body. So this arm here can be ever so slightly flexed at the setup position because that just makes it easier for the takeaway to take place for stage number 2. So trail arm out in front, palm facing towards the ground, facing upwards, and I'm just going to twist my wrist back so my elbow keeps facing towards the floor until the palm faces the grip itself. Then from there I can just take my hand onto the grip and then set up into the golf ball. The feeling for me here is just ensuring that there's no gap between my arm and the body. I'm feeling that movement there of allowing my wrist to hinge upwards, the club to work more upwards, but I'm also allowing my arm to fold so that the elbow faces still towards the body as opposed to starting to face away from the body like this here. We want to see that elbow continuing to point and face at the body as we begin to take this club back. It's the same feel with both hands. Left hand here now, the lead arm in the golf swing is there just to guide the movement whilst you're feeling this from the trail arm, trail wrist and trail hand as you begin to work the club more upwards into that takeaway position here. And just to ensure that I am actually taking the club on plane, I'm going to place an alignment stick ever so slightly behind the golf ball in relation to the ball to target line. Pretty much so there, perfect. About a foot behind the golf ball, just so I've got a bit of room just to take the club back. But as I make my way into the backswing here, I'm just trying to get my club to go along that stick for as long as I can. Just along the stick up to that first part of the golf swing that I like to check, which is where the club reaches parallel to the ground, and allowing my body to turn on the way through. So 75 yards just to begin with. I've got myself a pitching wedge here. I wouldn't usually hit pitching wedge at 75 yards, something like a 54 degree, but just to give myself a bit more leeway, focusing on this takeaway and just those smaller chip shots. I am going to have to step on this one a little bit to get it fairly close, but that's the feel on the way back and then rotating on the way through. I'll definitely take that one as my first attempt. Literally just landed short of the green onto the uphill slope. Really nice shot there, carry of 68 yards. So yeah, I'll definitely take that one. And look at that, it's rolled out to 83 yards. So pretty tricky shot this one, definitely. Now diving into more of those full backswings as we make our way into that top of the backswing position. The idea is once we set the arm, all we want to add is more rotation. So as we begin to go into this point here, from there the idea is we work on this upward motion, continue this rotation, making our way up to the top of the swing. So a great little drill that you can practice just to make sure that you feel that correct movement is taking your trail hand and placing it in the middle of the club shaft like this here, with the butt end of the club facing towards the target. Now it's already automatically set here into that externally rotated position, not internally rotated, externally rotated, just because of the way we're gripping the club. Now as we begin to turn into the backswing, your aim is to get the butt end of the club to face towards the golf ball at your eye line. From this point here, the feeling for me is, of course, keeping the arm tucked into the body, but as I begin to twist, turn those hips into the backswing, turn this right hip round and away from that golf ball as we make our way up to the top of the golf swing here, and we can see that allows my wrist, my arm, my shoulders, my hips to set in a really nice, reliable position to make the downswing sequence much easier. And then from the starting position, we're feeling that motion on the way back from stage number 2, the takeaway, to here, and then we're rotating more so up to the top of the golf swing. So nice and slow just to begin with for that second stage, then third up to the top. Nice smooth swing there. It's a pretty good shot there. I'll take that indeed. Now, just before we move on to the downswing, I just wanted to quickly let you know that I am currently offering in-person and online lessons. You can use the link down in the description below to check those two out if you're looking for more personalized, exclusive coaching to help you improve your golf swing. Now, when it comes to the downswing with how this trail arm works in the golf swing, the way to think of it is a reverse of what we've done for the backswing. So the only thing that tends to change for this is we want to keep the club on that same plane, but we don't necessarily want the arm to extend out. Now, one of the main tendencies I see a lot of golfers make when they come and see me for lessons is they'll get to the very top of the golf swing and they'll begin to extend this right arm, get this casting motion in the downswing, and that causes them then to have to lift up and stand up out of their golf shot. If this is something that you're struggling with, I'll leave a video at the end screen to help you specifically with that issue of standing up in the golf swing. But for this here, for the downswing, the key simple move I want you to think is adding this movement into the downswing. So what I've done there is I've turned up to the top of the golf swing, then I've allowed myself here to fire my left hip round and away from the golf ball, not necessarily forward like this here, because if we were just to take the club out in front, we'd more likely hit the ground from tilting backwards and pushing our hip forwards. So I'm just turning up to the top of my swing, twisting round up to the top of the golf swing, and then from here, I'm turning my left hip away from the golf ball, and I'm allowing my hand to set back in close to the body, keeping this arm nice and tucked in still, working it down to the golf ball, and I can just continue this feel all the way through to finish. And on the way through here, you can see I'm allowing my right arm just to begin to extend on the way through. So this drill, this trick, is obviously feeling that takeaway move, turning up to the top, firing the left hip, holding this angle, and then releasing it on the way through. Not necessarily releasing it by flipping the hands over, just releasing it by extending this trail arm on the way through. So all in one motion, feeling it here, rotating up, firing the hip away from the golf ball, and then I'm continuing that rotation through to this point here. Then from there we can just allow our arms to fold. So another shot from this position just before building this into all in one motion swings. Feeling that same movement. Pretty good shot there as well. So feelings there, we're just setting the arm. Once it's set, allow that arm to fold, rotating up to the top, and then rotating down, holding this angle, and releasing on the way through. Very, very simple, with the trick being all to do with the setup. If we don't get that arm at the setup position in this externally rotated position and keep it in this internally rotated position, that's going to make the rest of the movements that I give you from this video very, very difficult to implement. So practice that first and build this up into stages into your golf swing. So what is a really good iron ball striking tip for this, and a really good driver golf tip for this to help you compress the ball better and hit those drivers straighter and longer? Let's kick things off with the iron bonus tip. So you'll notice I've got an alignment stick set here behind the golf ball, around 3 to 4 4 inches behind the golf ball. Now the reason for this is when students come and see me for lessons, most often I get asked how to compress the golf ball. We want to get that ball, then turf interaction strike, just like we see the tour players do most often. And what they do so well is get that attack angle working on that descending angle into the golf ball. Now, if you're someone that feels like you get a bit of a mixture of those thin strikes or fat strikes when you're making your swings and practicing these movements, it's probably because you are allowing your body to tilt this way. So that tip where I mentioned don't let the hip fire forwards towards the target would probably be the case here, where you're allowing your body to lean away from the golf ball and we're more likely to hit the ground first, or then last minute we then try and react by jumping upwards and thinning that golf ball. So this here is a great drill for you to help you get the ball first, then turf afterwards. So all I'm going to do is focus on those same pointers from the setup, takeaway backswing, downswing and through to finish. But what this automatically forces me to do is add my pressure, add my weight into this lead side of the body as I make my way into the downswing and get my sternum here ahead of the golf ball at impact. When we lean backwards, the sternum is miles behind the golf ball. We want to make sure that we're getting this ever so slightly ahead of the golf ball as we compress the irons. So 181 yards here. I've got this alignment stick set up like this. I'm just going to make my swing backwards up to the top of the swing, and then from here just ensure I get myself a bit more forward as I begin to rotate this hip out the way, and that should ensure that I avoid that stick and get a really nice compressed strike. Now that one was crushed. I might have hit that too long because of how well I struck that. Yeah, a little bit too long, but it's still on the green. -5.2 on the downward motion. So that is great for a 7-9. Anywhere around that -3 to -5 or 6 mark, depending on how fast you swing the golf club, is really good. -3, -4 if you're a player that has a slower swing speed, -5, maybe even -6 if you're someone with a much higher swing speed. So that there is a great drill for you, just to focus on getting that ball, then turf interaction, and ensuring that you're hitting down on the golf ball with your irons and getting that great compression. Now the driver bonus tip I want to show you is all to do with the release pattern. With irons, it's very easy for us to keep the hands ahead to be able to compress the golf ball because we wanted to get that attack angle on that descending angle, the downward motion. But for driver, it's a bit different. Drivers are designed to be hit more on the upward motion into the golf ball to get that attack angle launching upwards and get the ball launching higher in the air. Now, if we were to do that same concept and get this shift forward with the driver and hold this angle for a lot longer, we're more likely to de-loft the club quite a lot, so therefore hitting them too low. But also look how open the club face is pointing there. So it's just going to cause those rightward golf shots. So with driver, especially because we're swinging much faster, we've got to allow for a bit more time to release the club head. If we don't release the club head to the ball, we're not going to be able to square the club face. So what I want you to imagine is when you're making your practice swings with driver, as you practice this movement turning down into the golf ball, we don't need this forward shift as much for the driver. We're rotating this left hip out of the way, but we're allowing the club to release a little bit earlier, just so we can get the club face to close down like this here. So when I'm doing this here, the thought for me is getting that toe end of the club, the top end of the golf driver here, to overtake the heel before making contact with the golf ball. The reason for before making contact is just because when we start to apply more speed, that's going to square things up for us really nicely. So same feel, just what I've just mentioned there, setting the arm into position, folding it into the backswing and downswing, just allowing that release to take place a little bit sooner. And I've really made sure I got the release on that one because I've drawn that one a bit too much. So all I need to do on that one, if you do find that is the case, just apply more speed into the downswing. So swing faster, and that's just going to help you delay the club face from rotating over. So let's just try that again, swing a little bit quicker. That one was 116, so quite slow for me. Let me see if I can get that to 120 with that same feel. That was a better one. We can see there it started a bit more to the right, curved back down towards the middle. That's the shot that we all are looking to play with out on the golf course. And taking a look at the swing speed, swung a lot quicker there, nearly 4 miles an hour faster on that golf shot. So once you've given this trick a try and practiced adding this into your golf swing, you're going to want to take this out onto the golf course. So I'd recommend checking out my course management guide. It's in the description below. It's an easy and simple guide that allows you to manage your way around a golf course better. And I'll leave a link to that in the description below, along with all my other coaching materials and the SATORI Golf discount of 20% off for this week only in the description below as well. Be sure to check out any of these 2 videos over here. The top one where I talk to you about a great drill to help you stop standing upwards in the downswing from what I mentioned earlier in the video, and the bottom one, you'll notice that I was setting up to driver not necessarily too far out the front of the stance, and there's a reason for that which I explain in the bottom video over here. So check out one of these 2 and we'll see you over in those.